Hello, the internet. Welcome to the west part of the West Division, round 2. Man, this tournament is getting more and more real as we go on. Some of these matches are getting closer and closer as we go along. These die rolls could decide some upsets today, but let's see how it does. The upper games are the favorites, and the bottom ones are the underdogs. The one exception is kind of Earth versus Ticket to Ride, because Earth came from the play-ins, but this is a 4 seed. This took over a 5 seed, so I'm putting that one on top. With the exception of Ticket to Ride versus Earth, all of the favorites are going to be the white dice. The challengers are going to be the black die. Although we're going to have one slight rule change for Axes and Allies. So for those of you who have not watched any of my videos, we play each of these games. We played Naruto, we played Axes and Allies, my oldest boy and I. We rated them on a scale from 1 to 10, based on how much we liked the game, how much fun we had, etc. We add up those two scores, and then we're going to roll the die and add half the value of the die. Whoever scores higher moves on. In the case of a tie, we go to tiebreakers. The first tiebreaker is the game that scored the most points before the die roll. And the winner moves on to the Sweet 16. The loser goes back on the shelf to be played again next year. Lots of high-scoring games. There's nothing under a 17 for this division. So lots of good games here. Lots of good games. All right, so our first matchup is the 1 seed in the division, Naruto, which is a deck-building card game from Cryptozoic. It is actually my favorite deck-building game and my favorite game from Cryptozoic. So we really like this game. It scored a 18 and a half. Up against Axes and Allies, one of the classics. I like the reprint version better, although, God, this box is not great quality. This is the reprint from Wizards of the Coast. We do have the original, but we prefer this one. I like the map a little bit better. And we like to play it using Zimbabwe currency instead of the game currency. It's a lot of fun. So we used so instead of $1, it's $10 million. So, for example, Russia starts off with 240 million Zimbabwe dollars to spend on stuff. This time I actually got my little one to play. He played on the team with me. He played the United States, and I played the other two allied nations. And, well, my oldest boy doesn't really attack much, so we just kind of slowly whittled him down. So, a lot of fun. And this one scored an 18. Now, for Axes and Allies, this is the 9 seed, by the way. To overcome Naruto, it's going to have to score a higher score, so it needs to roll 2 on the die higher. So if it rolls a 1 or 2, it's automatically out. If Naruto rolls a 5 or 6, Naruto automatically moves on. Axes and Allies has about a 30% chance to move on. Now, one thing for Axes and Allies, I actually misspoke earlier. Since Axes and Allies, you need to roll low. When I roll the die, I'm going to flip it. So this goes a 1. If I roll that, it becomes a 6. If I roll a 6, it becomes a 1. Everyone got that? So Axes and Allies wants to roll low. Naruto wants to roll high. If an Axes and Allies rolls a 5 or 6, which gets to flip to a 1 or 2, it is out. All right. So the first team from the West Division moving on to the Sweet 16 is... And this gets flipped to a 5. Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, big upset. Big upset. Naruto is out. Naruto is out. One of our 1 seed, our first 1 seed to fall, the 9 seed, Axes and Allies, moves on to the Sweet 16. That's how crazy this round is going to be. Chaos. All right, so our next one is, in theory, the 4-5. Now, I know this says Ticket to Ride France, but the box for Ticket to Ride usually has 2 games. We played the game of the 2 that we like the best. We do not like Ticket to Ride France. We do not like it in the box. We do not like it with the fox. We do not like it on a train or in the rain. It hurts my brain. So, I'll stop before I hurt your brain too. So we actually really like Ticket to Ride Old West. It's got a couple of interesting game mechanics. We usually play with the Alien, which I won't go over that mechanic, but in this one you actually start, you have cities that you can build. You start with one city and you have to build out of that city, and everything has to link to your route. And so it makes it for kind of an interesting game. This is not my favorite of the Ticket to Rides. India is, but I do like this one. We played the 4-player version of this. My kid didn't really like the 4-player version as much. So he rated it down a little bit from where he would normally rate it. And he rated it a 17. Earth came from the Plains. Look out for Earth. Great game. In the Plains, we played the base version, or the introductory version. This time we played with all the bells and whistles, and it's even better with everything. This is a game where you're not going to know who's going to win until the very end, until you add the scores at the end. And for us, both games we've played have been very, very close. It'll be interesting to see how this switches if we play 3-player. But a very fun game. Look out for this game, especially now that the 1 seed is out. And none of the games here, except for Ticket to Ride Old West, have been to a Final Four before. So this may be Earth's year to make it to the Final Four. We did this last year. Power Grid won the tournament from the play-ins. Can Earth do that this year? We will find out. Earth scored a 19. So the only way the Ticket to Ride Old West can move on is if it rolls a 6 and Earth rolls a 1. So, is Earth going to move on, or are the dice going to cause more chaos? Tie roll, Earth wins. Earth is moving on to the Sweet 16, where it will take on Axes and Allies. There's our matchup for the Sweet 16. The winner of that will move on to the Elite 8. Ticket to Ride Old West. We'll see you again next year. All right, Castles of Burgundy, one that's really high on a lot of people's lists. It is a little bit heavier of a game, so my kid, it's taken him time and repetition to really enjoy this game, but the more he plays it, the more he likes it. I love this game. This is my 3rd favorite game of all time now. And so it did very well. It scored a 19. Kingdom Builder, which had the big upset in the first round. It is the 11 seed that knocked off the 6. It keeps playing even better. Now, the drawback is there's only 3 cards that determine the scoring for the game. So you really have to focus on that. But it does have some replayability. It's a good game. I don't think it's quite as good as Castles of Burgundy. It's not quite at the same level, and it scored a 17.5. So it only has a 1 in 12 shot of making it. It needs to roll a 5 or 6 to have a chance, and Castles of Burgundy has to roll a 1 or 2 for it to have a chance to not win. All right, so moving on to the next round is another tie roll. So Castles of Burgundy moves on to the Sweet 16. All right, and our final matchup. San Juan, who has made the Elite 8 twice, has not broken through to the Final Four. Very fun game, similar to Puerto Rico. It's basically a watered-down version of Puerto Rico. My kid does like San Juan a little bit better for now. I like Puerto Rico better. We just picked up Puerto Rico. It's not in the tournament this year. It will be in the tournament next year, and it will be a pretty high seed. It'll be like a 2 seed, maybe a 3 seed. So look out for Puerto Rico next year. But for this year, we just got San Juan. Plays really quick. It does have 1 card in the deck that is very overpowered, which is the library. My kid got that, but he got that very late, and so I ended up winning the game. But always a fun game, and it plays quick. Rules are very easy setup. Great game. That's our 2 seed, and it scored an 18.5. Elder Sign last year was a 3 seed, but it didn't play well. We had a game where we just kept failing our rolls, and so we rated it down, and it didn't make the second round last year. This year it was a 10 seed, and it did not play like a 10 seed. It played more like a 3 seed. Well, not quite a 3 seed, but it knocked off the 7 seed in the first round, Can it do the same this round? Very fun cooperative game. You need to get these elder signs. You need like 10 to 14 of them to keep the elder god from invading our universe and seal it away before you get enough doom tokens to wake it up. Each round, the player is trying to do a quest where you have to roll dice in a certain way to pass the quest and move on. And there's some other stuff you can do. I'm oversimplifying a little bit. Very fun game, cooperative game. Finally got my little one to play this game. He really enjoyed it. And we scored this one a 17.5. So it's got a 1 in 6 chance of beating San Juan. For it to win, it needs to roll a 4 or higher, and San Juan needs to roll a 3 or lower. And it's got to beat it by at least 3. So, all right, the final game to move on to the second round to face off against Castles of Burgundy will be, and Elder Sign is the black die, San Juan. San Juan. So we only have the one huge upset in this round. So the 2 seed will face the 3 seed in the Sweet 16, and we'll have the 9 seed versus the game for the play-ins, which effectively took over the 5 seed. So we'll see a 2 or 3 versus one of these. Out of the West, we will have a Final Four contestant that has never made the Final Four before, and no, it won't be my fingers. My fingers didn't make it past the play-ins. It's very sad. Very sad. It got rated as 0, which I didn't think we could rate things as 0. So it's been eliminated from my library. Okay. Anyhow, hey, if you make mistakes, you're required to make fun of them. That is the rule. Okay. So there we go. Axe and Eyes versus Earth. Castles of Burgundy versus San Juan. Naruto is out. So we have a 1 seed out and a 2 seed out and a 4 seed out. That got knocked out in the first round, not from here, but well, actually we do. We have 2 4 seeds out now, and so there you have it, the West Division. So stay tuned for the next one, which will be the East Division, which will be led by Penny Arcade. And I think the 2 seed in that one is Star Realms, so that should be a very interesting one because both of those were have been Final Four before. Penny Arcade last year, Star Realms 2 years ago. So we'll see how that one goes. But until then, enjoy.